Is going to be with us very shortly. He's still hammering out all this news because it's madness. So please, guys, talk to me a little bit about how this happened, because for months we kept talking about all of this happening across the river with the New York Knicks. How did this all come to be?
I think Kevin Durant has wanted to play with Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan for a long time. And he feels like he can play with his friends there. I mean, this is what we've known about Kevin for a long time, that he was going to make his decision about where he wanted to play for the next 4 years.
Right.
And the injury threw that off a bit. There was equally strong information the last couple of days that he might just stay in Golden State, rehab there. But he's had a connection with Kyrie Irving for a long time. He's one of his best friends is DeAndre Jordan. When he was going through his free agency a few years ago, DeAndre was the guy he was calling. And when DeAndre was when all that happened with him in Dallas, DeAndre was calling Kevin. They've been close for a long time, and even though it's hard to believe this all came together, you've seen these signs telegraphed for a long time. The only question is whether or not he would really go through with it. The Knicks, though, I know this is probably a really sad day for Knicks fans. They're not even in New York. They're in Los Angeles about to start their free agent meetings with guys like Julius Randle. They've already kind of seen the writing on this wall, and they had to consider whether or not they could use up all their cap space on Kevin Durant as he comes off an Achilles injury. And I think they've seen this and decided, and they were preparing for this for the last couple of days, that we've got to move on and try to recalibrate around a young team.
Over the last couple of weeks, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant were strongly recruiting DeAndre Jordan to come with them to Brooklyn. That was apparently the place they decided to play. Within the last few days, Kawhi Leonard reached out to Kevin Durant to discuss what they may be looking at. And that, sources told me, sort of paused Kevin a little bit. Like, let me see what Kawhi wants to say. He was flabbergasted to hear from Kawhi, quite frankly. And that's why for the last 48 hours or so, there's been a little bit of an unsettling. But from the All-Star game forward, where Kyrie and Kevin were essentially attached at the hip, that they spent time together off the court. Kyrie spent time with Kevin while he was recovering from his first calf injury during the playoffs while the Warriors were on the road. Kyrie was negotiating sort of in there. So this has been something that's been a train going down the track for a while, and a huge move for the Nets to not only lock down Kyrie, but to get the both of them so that even in this next year they can be very competitive while Kevin recovers.
Look, the Knicks are the team that made that huge trade in the middle of the season, clearing the most cap space of any team this year, about $70 million in space. They traded away Kristaps Porzingis, and we've talked over the past couple months about, hey, there was off-the-court issues we didn't know about at the time with him, and obviously there was some concern about on the court and his health and everything going forward. All of that is a gamble, though, about you trade away a player who's got such a unique skill set. He is literally called the unicorn, partly because they thought they had enough information to make this move. Jim Dolan goes on the radio and brags about how we know players want to come here, and instead it's the Brooklyn Nets coming here. I want to go to Adrian Wojnarowski. Is he here with us, producer Danny? All right, Adrian, please break down what happened here.
Well, Kevin Durant is going to sign with the Nets 4 years, $164 million. He will join Kyrie Irving, who is going to commit also tonight. He's essentially committed already. And then DeAndre Jordan will also join this team. Obviously, Durant, it's very likely to sit out the entire season, but 3 full years of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving coming in now, and, a remarkable turnaround for this Nets organization. That, when Sean Marks and Kenny Atkinson took this Nets organization over just a few years ago, it was a literal NBA wasteland, and it's a testament to, I think, the organization they built. People throw that word culture around a lot, but it was real. And listen, Kevin Durant initially this year, the Nets weren't really on his radar. They earned their way with both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. They earned their way to have to be considered. And when you look at the role players there, the pieces around them, the structure in place, it made sense. And so Durant, Durant is going to announce this at 6 p.m. on his boardroom Instagram account. But a remarkable turn of events. And Bob Myers, Golden State's GM, met with Kevin Durant and Rich Kleiman earlier today. I was told that news was shared with him. It's been shared with the other teams that they're not going to get him, and Kevin Durant is going to be a Brooklyn Net.
Okay, I want to ask you a couple questions based off of all that great information you just gave us. Even if he wasn't going to sign and stay with the Warriors, how come Kevin Durant wasn't interested in a sign and trade that could have gotten him more money? Or it would have been the same money?
Yeah, I mean, they could still potentially do that if like hypothetically, if Golden State had interest in D'Angelo Russell, and they'd have to move a lot of pieces. That there's not an easy sign and trade with those two teams. But, the moratorium goes until July 6th. They can't sign till then. I'm sure there may be, it's possible there could be a conversation between the Nets and Warriors, still a little bit premature, but that's certainly something that
we could look for.
May be addressed.
Okay, and then also you mentioned sort of that the Nets earned this with their culture, and I'm so fascinated by this. And by the way, that's the NBA working, right? We want good franchises to be rewarded, well-run franchises to be rewarded. Do you get any sense in your reporting what or when it was that this change happened? Because we've known about the Knicks, and although we all who work with Scott Perry think that he's done a really nice job stabilizing that front office, up and down, from the ownership down, the culture of the New York Knicks is something that has come under fire for years. It's not like this is a news flash that has a culture issue compared to the Nets, who've been well respected as they've been turning this team around. Did you get a sense from either Kyrie or KD's side when it was that they made the switch of saying, you know what, this is enough of a difference, I want to go there?
Well, I think there's no question that Kyrie Irving did first. And, he has been focused on the Nets for maybe months, certainly several weeks. And listen, you look at their roster right now, and if you're Kyrie Irving, and if you're going to miss 10 games or 15 games with an injury, if you're going to go out or you're going to rest, you got Spencer Dinwiddie to come in and take your spot. You're not going to lose all those games. You've got a starting level point guard. You look at the role. Karis LeVert is probably a future All-Star in the NBA. He was probably on his way to that before the injury that kept him out for much of the regular season. Jared Allen at center, Joe Harris. There are role players there, and that stars want to have around, guys who do the dirty work. And I think there's no question Kyrie Irving was the first, I think, to be committed here. But the one thing I've been told through this whole process was that KD really wanted to try to make a decision independent of what anyone else was doing. But as a player in the league, you need talent around you to win. And I think the Knicks are certainly a tough sell right now, where you look at what's there, what's in the organization right now, what pieces have you close to having a playoff contender. It's hard to just go out in free agency and sign all those players. You see those bit players around, and guys who are better than just role players with the Nets, but a remarkable turnaround for where this organization was just a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is amazing. And I do notice, Woj, that you're in Bristol. You have actually gone 3,000 miles from me, so I cannot electrocute you with this crank. And I just want you to know, I notice. I know what's happening here. But we look forward to seeing you throughout the next 5 hours that we're going to be on. We will certainly see you on Twitter. Please rest those thumbs. You're going to need them for the rest of the day. Guys, if you're watching, stay tuned to The Jump. When we come back, Ramona Shelburne is going to have an update for us on what's going on with Kawhi Leonard and the Lakers. We'll see you in just a minute or two.